Okay, construction. We're going to do some working drawings for the ladder bridge project. You have 11 by 17 paper in front of you. This is called isometric grid paper. So these angles are 30 degrees to a horizon line, a horizontal line. And what they do is they allow us to give perceived depth to the work so that it looks like we can view it easier. Okay, most people can understand easier. Let's start with some basics on here. First of all, let's put our name on it. Joe Schulte. Nobody calls me Joseph except my mother. You can call me Schulte, Mr. Schulte. Joe would be weird. We're not friends yet. We need to put the date on here. And this project is, right now, it's May 12th, 2021. Project title. Ladder bridges for North Loop. The other thing we're going to put on here is the scale of the drawing. And the scale, we're going to say this is a 1/4 inch, and it's going to be a 1/4 inch equals 6 inches, or 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. And maybe the simplest way we could do it is 1 block on the drawing equals 6 inches in real life. So if we zoom in on that, am I able to pinch zoom? Oh yeah. That's our scale right there. 1 block on the drawing equals 6 inches in real life. Okay, and how is that going to play out? Well, stick with me here. We're gonna start drawing. We have to fit a fairly large piece of material onto this paper. And so we first have to verify, can we actually, will this scale work for our drawing? We want a dock section or a ladder bridge that is 16 feet long. So if every square equals 6 inches, we need 32 squares of length in order to fit this on here, because 32 divided by 2 is 16. That would be 16 feet, or there's 2 of these in every foot. So if we start off from way down in the bottom corner here, I'm going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. That's 20 squares. 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, and 32 squares. I know that I can fit my ladder bridge section in here. Width-wise, we're going to be 36 inches wide. So that would be how many squares? 36 inches is 3 feet, or 36 divided by 6 is 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that fits as well. Now with this drawing, we could draw our supports first, but then we'd end up drawing over the top with our deck boards, and that might get to be confusing. So I'm gonna draw the ends of the boards down here, but I'm not gonna extend those out yet because we're gonna end up drawing the deck boards in first and kind of filling in the details underneath, okay? So if I pick this point to start from, a safe place should be somewhere about right here. I'm 2 up from the bottom, and I'm probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 over from the right-hand side. Pick this point right here. I'm going to draw a vertical line that represents the edge of a 2x6, and it's 1 square high. Now our 2x6s are actually they're actually 5.5 inches. So if you want to leave them a little short on the bottom, that would be more representative. And then I'm going to draw over the width of my 2x6 is 1.5 inches in real life. So what would it be on a scale drawing? If this is 6 inches, 1.5 inches would be 1/4 of that. So I can go to the halfway point and then back to the 1/4, make a dot there. Same thing here, go over 1/4. I'm going to make a vertical line to connect this. And then really important that we stay with these horizontal lines on isometric paper. So I want to line my ruler or straight edge up with the isometric guidelines and then run that across the top here and across the top at the bottom, or across the bottom. If we cheat this or start to cheat this process, things get out of whack right away. So this is our first edge. Now, spacing wise, remember that our decking is going to be 36 inches wide total. So we're going to space this 2 feet on center, and we're going to start this first board 6 inches in. This board is going to run this direction, so it might help if I run a line up this way a little ways. We'll always see this bottom edge, I believe. That's my board there. These deck boards are going to extend past, and they're going to extend past 6 inches. So what does that look like? 6 inches past this edge, the deck board will start right here. It's actually going to share this edge back. Let me draw a deck board in that is 3 feet wide. This is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. Okay, and then the deck board is going to angle back like this direction. Actually, we have to draw the vertical thickness first, so I'm going to draw up here. The deck boards are, we're going to say 1 inch thick, so just a little less than 1/4 of a square. Connect this back. This is the edge of the board. And then I've got to go depth-wise, or the width of the board, this way. And these boards are also, they're going to be about 5.5 inches. So we're going to draw back almost a full square this way. If you're really stuck with that, just draw a full square. We'll call it close enough. That way, our deck board right here needs to be, depth needs to be shown, and then we're going to connect across the top. So that's our first deck board. And we can start to see this coming together, maybe. Show some depth here. I forgot to show the edge of that board. See, when we cheat right away, it's like, oh, it doesn't look that good. Now, spacing-wise, we're 6 inches in from the edge of this board. We want to go 6 inches in from the edge of this board, and we're going to draw a 2x6 on edge. And I'm going to split the difference here, 1.5 inches wide. I'm going to center it over this line. That should go down to here, here. There's our outside board that's a little wider, and then I'll center one here as well. Connect that across the bottom. Oh, get my straight edge lined up here. There. Now these boards, they're going to have an edge that runs back, and we can draw that, and we're just going to let it disappear underneath this plank. So we don't want to draw through the plank, because the plank takes precedence, or our deck board takes precedence. So it stops right there, and we're going to go right here. Stops right there. It'll show up in little spurts or segments depending on how much spacing we put between these boards, right? So a little bit of cleanup here. How we doing? So far, so good. Now, if I want to draw the next decking board, I want to create some spacing between here. Normal spacing, what we saw on some other projects, is like 1/4 inch or a pencil width. But because these are mountain bike bridges, we can leave more space. That saves a little bit of material. We're going to space 1.5 inches in between these. And so 1.5 inches, remember that is 1/4 of a square. Halfway from a square is 3 inches. We're going to go 1.5 inches, and that's where we're going to start the next edge. So for this one, 1/4 of a square here is going to be about right there. Should be up this line. Make sure that my straight edge is running parallel with my isometric lines. I can draw this over the top. And I need to go back here a full 6 inches, or just a little less than that. So I'm going to jump to the next 1/4 square like this, make a dot there. I can go up this line here, same distance. And then I'm going to connect the boards. And I need to show the depth or the thickness of the board yet. So that's going to drop down vertically, that 1 inch thickness. And I'm cheating these a little bit, but if I go off of this same line here, this one needs a little cleanup. And then I'm going to have a vertical line. Zoom in here. I'm going to have a vertical line here, and I can draw that edge. If it's 1 inch, I'm just going to see that edge in my opening here. That's the edge of my board or my planks. Maybe a little thicker than this one. So we can start to see this spacing going out. I can continue to draw my deck boards with 1.5 inch spacing. So I'm going to space to the middle of this square. Might help to erase this board edge. And just draw my top planks first. And the middle of this square here. I'm actually up a little bit with this edge. Need to draw back a vertical depth here of 1 inch. Draw back on the top here. That's going to be 5.5 or 6 inches. Okay, and same thing down here. And we're going to carry this all the way out to 16 feet. That's going to give us the number of boards we need to cut, as well as we can then build a cut list off of this to know how many plank boards we need and what our spacing is. I'm going to draw a little bit more detail in here before we move on, and then I'll draw out the rest of these. How are we going to fasten these in? We're going to use 2 screws in the top. We'll likely pre-drill these, but we want to space these screws evenly. So they're going to be centered on our stringers and in 1 inch from the edge. There's a screw there, up the line, screw there. If I'm not sure that those are correct, I can go like this and I can space them as evenly as possible. Next stringer right here. And the last stringer centered on the stringer. That's going to tell me where my fasteners are going to go, how many I need. Let me carry out the rest of this drawing here in time lapse, and I'll let you do the same thing in real time. So I've got my 16 feet of ladder bridge drawn out here with correct spacing. And what I can do now is count up how many decking boards or planks I'm going to have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24, so I can do a cut list here. Quantity and description. I've got a quantity of 24, and these are going to be 5/4 decking boards at 36 inch would be our safe minimum. 36 1/8, we could leave them strong, snap a line, rip all these if we don't get them spaced evenly. We don't really want the edges to wander, so 36 inches, 24 of those. We need 3 stringers down here on the bottom, 3 2x6 treated stringers at 16 feet long, which is equal to 192. So a 2x6 is 16 footers, that would be 192 inches. And then spacing, we can make some notes here. Spacing between boards. Between decking boards. 1.5 inches. And spacing between stringers would actually be 12 inches. And we can draw out a few more details on this that would help us to see that. So let's go like this. Okay, and then we're going to draw some extension lines that come off of here. We don't want to touch the drawing with them, but we're going to draw an extension line that comes off like this. We'll go to the center of the board here and come off of it like this. Remember, stay away from the edge a little bit. And then the center of the board here. Okay, and then we can draw arrows and indicate that this would be 12 inches between centers. And our overall spacing then would be 24 inches here. That would leave for a 6-inch overlap. We could also do the same thing here with spacing. And we can do 1.5 inch spacing. In between there. What other details do we need? We've got our cut list made here. Stringers, we just have to talk about how to lay this out now. So the other question would be, out of 24 pieces at 36 inches, what is a good length of decking board to start with to cut these down to have zero waste? So should we order 8-footers, 10-footers, 12s, 14, 16s? They come in all those lengths. Our stringers, we want those to be intact and full length, so we want a 16-foot stringer. We could draw a hidden line in here. It might be a little confusing, but I'll piece in a little part of it here to show you what that looks like. That's going to be a dashed line from this edge of the stringer here. Because it's hidden behind this board, we see that as a dashed line. The decking boards hide these, but it would give us some idea of where that stringer is running and that it's staying true to the outside edge here. So that would be our stringer running through there. Hard to pick up, and because these share edges and lengths, it gets a little more difficult too. So we'll leave the hidden lines out. This is good to estimate off of and to build off of as well. We should be able to start with these and work through building a section of ladder bridge. The total quantity of ladder bridges we're proposing to build right now are 6 of these at 16 foot.